So let's take a look at some of the things that I've collected here.
Okay.
I've got 3 different types of foods here. The first one that I've got, and we won't say what names are necessarily, but this is a bagged food. It's been well advertised on television, and it's getting Sand and Diamond's attention here. And as we look in that bag, what's the first thing that catches your attention?
It's beautifully colored.
It's beautifully colored, yes. And what do you suppose makes all those beautiful colors?
Big long chemicals.
Oh, yes. Yellow 5, red 40, yellow 6, blue 2. It's very festive. Dogs don't need those things. We don't need those things. And that's done primarily for the benefit of us, the consumer, who look at this and say, oh, that looks really great. That must be good for my dog.
Sure.
It also comes in fun little shapes like bones.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, bones and little cheese wedges
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
Okay.
Now, do you guys care what shape this comes in? Probably not. Okay, I take that to mean a no. Well, let's just put some of it out here. Okay. Yum. And it's got, what do you think about the smell?
Not
It's
bad.
okay? All right. Okay, so this is what we find in a lot of processed food. We find stuff that makes it attractive to the consumer. It's even got little red hearts in there. Neat. When I see food like this, it disguises what's actually in here, which are some mystery ingredients. Would you mind holding that for me? And we're not going to let them have it because that is not necessarily a good thing for him. So the main ingredient here is ground yellow corn. And corn is not something the carnivores are designed to eat.
You don't see wolves out in the cornfield with
You
raccoons.
don't, do you? Do you foraging and digging up old corn cobs? No, they don't. They certainly don't. It's also got corn gluten meal in it, and it's got whole wheat flour. It's got animal fat. We don't know what animal that comes from. And it's got soy flour, which dogs don't digest very well at all. It's got sugar in it. Makes it taste good.
Guys.
It's got Animal Digest in it. Now, what do you suppose Animal Digest is?
Do I want to know?
Probably not.
Okay.
No, probably not. So, in a long list of chemical ingredients, which are artificial minerals or artificial vitamins, minerals, etc. So, a food like this is said to be nutritionally balanced, and chemically it probably is, but it's not the types of chemicals that a body uses real readily. And so what you see with dogs that eat this type of food is that they quite often have an awful lot of stuff coming out the other end.
And we don't
you
need
know?
any more than what they already produce.
No, we don't. Somebody's got to clean all that up, you see. And it can be very hard on their digestive tracts. It can be very hard on the liver because the liver is the part of the body that has to deal with all of those chemicals and food preservatives and colors and so on. So this would not be my first choice. It's not only highly processed, but it's got a lot of suspect ingredients in here. So we're just going to put that right back here. We'll put it right back in the bag and let it stay there. Now let's look at a couple of other things. This is also a processed food. Okay.
It's a big sausage.
It is a big sausage, isn't it? And that's exactly what it looks like. It looks like a big sausage, and if you didn't know this was dog food, you'd probably be quite happy putting a piece of it between 2 slices of bread and having it for lunch with pickles.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So this is a food that has a lot more meat in it. In fact, it's mostly meat. Lamb, lamb hearts, lamb kidneys, lamb lungs. And then we've got some whole wheat flour and rice flour, lamb fat, so it tells us exactly what the source of the fat is in it. But now we got some sucrose, sugar. Okay, why is that there? Then there's some ground whole flaxseed, which is very nice, and it's got some more chemicals, minerals, vitamins, etc. But it's got a much shorter ingredient list than the other one does. I think there's something like 55 ingredients in that first one we looked at.
It's about this long.
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
tiny print.
Yeah, there's about 30 in this one, so we're going in the right direction. Comes in several flavors. Dogs seem to like this quite a lot.
Now, is it usually the first item listed is the more percentage
That's right.
in the product?
That's right. So as we go down through the list, there's less and less of it. But you know, with some chemicals, you don't need a whole lot to do a job, do you?
No.
And so some of these chemicals, even though they're in small amounts, they can still be devastating to some dogs.
And here we've got lamb as the first.
That's right. In fact, lamb hearts, lamb kidneys, lamb lungs, so the first 4 ingredients are some form of lamb, okay? And you know, things like lungs and kidneys, those are actually not unhealthy. There's a lot of protein in them, there's a lot of minerals in them, and I think all of us would really do better to eat more organ meats because we get a lot of good stuff out of organ meats. So we've got these two, and then we've got another one going for even a shorter list of ingredients. This is also processed. Got a label on it, right? So it's processed. But it's minimally processed. The ingredients are simply put through a grinder, and what comes out of the grinder is put immediately into these buckets.
And frozen.
And frozen.
That's
right.
what the fuzzy stuff is. It's not mold.
That's the fuzzy stuff. It's
Yeah.
frozen. Right. And so this contains the whole animal, as much of it as we can use. You know, the stomach and so on are taken out of this, but it's got in it chicken bones, gizzards, hearts, and livers, turnip greens, collard greens, kale, yams, apples, alfalfa, kelp, apple cider vinegar, garlic, some vitamin E, and that's it.
Wow.
That's it. That's all that's in here. So, and it, you know, it smells pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah.
Not bad?
Yeah.
Not bad. And it's got a lot of water in it, which is really important because a body is about 70% water. And to feed that body, the best way to feed it is to feed something that simulates the body's own components. So 70% water, about 10 to 20% protein, a little bit of fat, a little bit of minerals and vitamins. And that's an appropriate diet for a carnivore and for us as well, maybe with a little more carbs in it. So this is this type of dog food is probably the closest to a carnivore's natural diet. And when we feed as close as we can to that natural diet, we have animals that are typically a lot healthier. What I noticed when I started feeding my dogs this type of diet is that my oldest dog, who was 12 at the time, began to get his hearing back.
Oh my goodness.
And my next oldest dog, who was 10 at the time and had really waxy ears, he was a Cocker Spaniel, and you know how they get all this, get all this wax and stuff in their ears? I didn't have to clean his ears anymore.
That's just
It was
amazing.
really amazing. And their teeth got nice and clean because they weren't eating all the starch. Temperaments tend to become more even. And I've been able to resolve behavior problems in a lot of dogs simply by changing the food to something that went in the direction of their natural diet. So it's really pretty amazing. So what I really want people to understand is get in the habit of reading labels.
Okay.
And if you see anything you don't recognize, any mystery ingredients, go somewhere else. You know, there's just tons and tons of really great foods out there now. And some people really like the ingredients of a product like, or they like the convenience of a product like this, and that's okay. You know, convenience, she likes that. We use that for training treats. But, you know, convenience is a great thing. And, I mean, all of us go for convenience at times. We're all busy. It's not a bad thing. But there are a lot of great foods out there that will give you the convenience of a processed food, but much better ingredient list. So get in the habit of reading labels and learn what the various terminologies mean so that you know exactly what you're feeding your animal.
So even if you can't, for some reason, get this, if the cost is prohibitive or whatever,
Sure.
at least you can try to get the best
That's right.
that you can afford. And
The
it would
best
make
you
sense.
can. Feed. My rule with folks is I always tell them feed the best you can afford, just like you do with yourself and your family.
Right.
You know, you don't go out and buy junky food.
Right.
Typically, you don't want to do that. Feed the best you can afford, and typically you're going to be paying for something like this between $2 and $3 a pound.
Okay.
Okay, which is really not a bad price considering all the good stuff it does for your dog's body. For a premium quality bagged food, you're probably looking at $1.25 to $2 a pound, which
So
really
it's
is not
not
very
that
much at
bad.
all.